Semifinalists are confirmed for this year's AFCON, African Cup of Nations. Egypt, Senegal, Morocco, and Nigeria, they all have reached the last four. Egypt beat defending champions Ivory Coast 3-2, while Nigeria beat Algeria 2-0. Morocco and Senegal also advanced from their quarterfinals. By the way, I expected Algeria to advance into the next stage. I was also expecting them maybe to win this year's tournament, but that did not happen. I'm kind of happy for Mo Salah, considering the current issue he has with Liverpool. But okay, this is where we are, and this matchup set up blockbuster semis. Egypt versus Senegal and Morocco versus Nigeria, with historical and tactical narratives on both sides. Now let's talk about star players and rivalries. We'll start from Mohamed Salah. He continues his great tournament from scoring key goals and leading Egypt, and he is now seeking his first AFCON title. Do we root for him? I don't know. I'm Ethiopian, he's from Egypt. We'll move on to Senegal's Brahim Baye. The 17-year-old is emerging as one of the tournament's biggest, youngest stars. And one of the games I'm expecting to watch both games and entertain myself, because it's Senegal versus Egypt, Nigeria versus Morocco. So particularly for Egypt versus Senegal, I am expecting to see the Salah versus Sadio Mané rivalry, Egypt versus Senegal, which is going to add extra spice to the semis as two African legends renew hostilities. When it comes to tactical and narrative teams, the indigenous coaches are thriving, which means all four semi-final teams are managed by African coaches, which is a major shift in AFCON leadership, and that is according to the report from Reuters. Now, when it comes to Morocco, of course, home advantage matters. Morocco's strong run, which is they're unbeaten through the quarters, it reinforces the belief that the hosts are among the favorites. So what are the odds and the projections? Analytics models currently favor Morocco and Senegal to reach the final, though Nigeria and Egypt remain strong threats. And there is also something that is controversial right now, which is being investigated by CAF. CAF is investigating post-match clashes and officiating controversies after heightened tensions in some quarterfinals, especially Algeria versus Nigeria and Morocco versus Cameroon. Is there any development about this? So according to Reuters, this is what the headline says: CAF to investigate post-match violence at African Cup of Nations. So CAF investigates post-match violence at African Cup of Nations. Algerian players pursued referee after loss to Nigeria. Algerian Federation files complaint over referee's performance. So a statement said CAF has collected recent match reports and video evidence indicating potentially unacceptable behavior from some players and officials, and has opened an investigation. That is what it says. The Algerian Football Federation cannot ignore the refereeing performance observed during the last match, which raised numerous questions and caused considerable confusion. It said in a statement. So such complaints, however, are common in African football, notably from losing teams, as federations seek to temper the dissatisfaction and disappointment of their fans and blame defeat on refereeing errors. That is according to the report from Reuters.com. So let's take a look at the broader impacts for a few seconds. The tournament is also being viewed as a test of infrastructure and organization ahead of Morocco's 2030 World Cup hosting plans. which is drawing wider attention to its success. So the headline from The Guardian says, is Morocco ready to co-host the 2030 World Cup? AFCON indicates yes. I mean, who would forget the World Cup in South Africa? Bafana. At least I don't. I feel like I'm going to remember it forever, and that is the beauty of hosting an international tournament in Africa, in our continent, because it's just going to be beautiful. So the biggest concern is access to the stadiums, which potentially dangerous crushes developing games at the two smaller stadiums in Rabat and in Marrakesh, where the stadium is located out of town with only one access road and no rail service, even when it was just over half full for Cote d'Ivoire's last 16 win over Burkina Faso. There was chaos as fans tried to navigate the one road back towards the city center. So that is one of the concerns when it comes to, when we think about Morocco, co-hosting the 2030 World Cup.